All right. Welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. My camera is just a little, what they call crooked. Anyway, I'm so glad so many of you have filed in early. A lot of people here, and we're going to have a great show. We've got a lot to talk about. And as you know, I've been gone for a while. A lot of people want to talk about the results of my skin cancer surgery. And because you guys have sort of been part of it since I made the announcement here and talked about it. And so anyway, we'll discuss how that went, how my recovery is going. We'll talk about upcoming guests. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And of course, the breaking news that Mick Mars has officially retired. Something that we said here a few weeks ago. Obviously, the next step will be the announcement of John 5. We'll talk about all of those things and more right after. Just wanna waste some time with you. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. Nobody out there can waste time with that. All right, let's see. Even more people just piling in. So we're going to get to everybody. I know a lot of people are wondering what happened to my face, and we are going to find out right now. The answer is not that exciting. The answer is that there were 15 stitches put into my nose after successful surgery to remove skin cancer. And so let's just say hello to so many of the great people here, and then we can talk about that. Oscar. There once was a man, his name was Oscar. Oscar. Some of you will get that, some of you won't. Jason lives. Thankfully, yes, that is the case. Bill's asking if this is a glow-in-the-dark mask. I'm not sure. We'll have to turn the masks out, the lights out to find out. Sorry, they removed a piece of my brain and tongue as well. Thank you, Bill. Let's see here. JB is here. Stuff-o-matic. I think that's what that says. And here, just so I can read some of these comments. I probably should have had some eye surgery while I was there. Am I going to show? Well, here I am. Yeah. Let's see. A lot of people excited. People saying hello to each other. All right. I'm happy you guys are all here. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, all is well. Dave is asking, and Dave, I got a package of stuff in the mail for you, so hopefully you'll dig that. As far as stitches, the stitches at this point should have dissolved. So, hey, Vito Brada is here, by the way. People ask who's the big guest that people ask for on the show, and there he is, Vito, with the super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you guys for the support. There was a lot of reasons I wanted to come back. One, this is what I do. I enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy this this program and this life. But it also pays the bills. And speaking of pay the bills, if you didn't know, this episode is brought to you by Whatnot. Whatnot is the coolest new auction site, and all you have to do is go into the description right now and click on the link, sign up for Whatnot, and they are going to give you $15 off your first purchase. If you buy something that only costs $15, then you get you just have to pay shipping, I believe. So anyway, it's really cool. They have live auctions, vintage vinyl, toys, collectibles. It gets addicting. I will warn you, it gets addicting. But check out Whatnot. Use the link, sign up, and you'll get that free $15. Anyway, and then super chats and all the support of watching the videos. While I was away, I was worried, and you guys really supported and watched the videos. My interview with Kelly Nichols is very popular right now, and Last Tour Diary is doing well. And I will let you know that new Tour Diary should be out this Monday. If you are a Patreon, you will see it this weekend. You get to see it before everybody else. And I'm going to get to everybody's comments. We're going to talk about who you want to see on the show. I'm going to tell you who's coming up on the show first. Let me have a a little drink here from my official uh, Stephen Piercy mug. I will also tell you that I plan on returning to road life in December with Stephen Piercy. And if you go to his website, officialstephenpiercy.com, you'll see the new dates. They're being added slowly, but there's a lot of them. And but we'll be in the Chicago area. I believe it's December 16th at I think it's called the Vixen Theater, not the band that only has one original member, but the venue. And you can go get tickets and come say hello. I would love to see you. And Bill enjoyed the Kelly Nichols interview. Some people got mad during the Kelly Nichols interview, and I'll tell you, they thought that I was trying to bait Kelly into saying bad things about Tracy Guns. I will tell you right now that was not the case or the intention. The things that LA Guns are doing now, performing in a bathroom, changing members, 100 times, these are things that you want to hear a reaction to. I can tell you that Kelly Nichols is not short of words about those people, but as he says in my interview, he doesn't want to have two negative bands out there fighting. So he chooses not to talk about it. The things that he told me off camera were probably would interest you a lot more than what he said on camera. But I think it's a great interview, and I think we learned a lot about Kelly Nichols and the truth about LA Guns. Paul Mars Black was also on this program, and he had a lot to say. And so I don't have a personal issue with Tracy Guns. He's more than welcome to come on the show. He won't, and talk about his side of things. But anyway, so yeah, people really seem to enjoy that interview. And I will tell you that I spoke to Kelly and Steve Riley, and when their record comes out, it comes out next year. It's called The Dark Horse. They'll come back and we'll talk about the record track for track. At this point, we've talked a lot about, and by the way, the record is available from Golden Robot Records. They've talked about a lot of the history of LA Guns and things, but now let's talk about their music. Thank you. It's good to see you as well. I'm glad some of you like that. We've got 110 people here right now. Let's talk a little bit. Let's go over the order of things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my surgery and my recovery. We'll get that out of the way. And for the people who are watching this on the delay, you can fast forward this if you like. Then we should talk about Mick Mars. And then we should talk about what's coming up with the show. We should talk about who you'd like to see on the show. And then we should get the hell out of here and get back to our lives. It's Halloween weekend, which is really one of the best times of the year. I like when people give me nicknames like Greenie. Well, bringing up Stevie Rochelle is definitely an interesting thing because if you follow Metal Sludge, Stevie Rochelle had a staph infection, which started like a small hole on his nose. And he had texted me these pictures weeks before he went public with it. I didn't say anything. And it turned into a massive infection that they believe he got at the gym. He likes to frolic around in the hot tub. He's an athletic guy. And when he was telling me, I knew right away it was the gym. When I knew he had a staph infection, I knew it. And so thank God he's okay. He's got a hole in his nose, but he's alive because that staph infection could have killed him. I see a lot of comments, and I promise you, I'm going to read them all and get to them. But anyway, so that's what Steve Rochelle, he had a staph infection. What I have or had was cancer. And I'm going to tell you, not everybody had positive things to say about my cancer. In fact, one time notable musician had bad things to say, and he was public about it. And we're going to find out who that musician was in just a little bit. So for those of you who followed the show, for about a year, if you look at my tour diaries, some of them go back a year now. The first one was shot in December of last year. And I have this small dot on my nose. Maybe it looked like a zit. As the shows go on, tour diaries, you will see that it starts to bleed sometimes, and it was very embarrassing. Sometimes I would put makeup on. Sometimes I would cover. Luckily, people were wearing masks. I shouldn't say very embarrassing. That's the wrong way to say it. But I was subconscious about it. You don't want to. I'm sitting here in all of your TV screens or laps or pockets or laptops, however you watch the show, and you got this thing on your nose. Of course, today I have something on my nose also. Um, and I knew something was wrong. And this is a lesson for all of us. When you feel like something's wrong, your body will tell you. There's a good chance that your body will tell you something's wrong. So I was seeing a quack, a doctor, and he was terrible. And he told me that, oh, it's nothing. And he said, what do you think? I'm going to give you a recommendation to a dermatologist. He goes, well, what do you think they're going to do? A biopsy? He goes, no way. And so I said, well, he knows it's got to be nothing. And it continued to bleed. And I knew it was bad. I finally got to see a primary doctor. And she's not a doctor, she's a nurse, but she is better than any doctor I've ever seen. And she got me a recommendation to a dermatologist who looked at it within 1 second, said, we need to take a biopsy. He knew. They see this all the time. He knew. The biopsy came back. As I announced on the show, I had cancer. It was a very hard thing to say. Of course, I was fortunate to have if you can be fortunate to have cancer, but I had a very treatable cancer. And the survival rate is incredibly high, other than the chance that the doctor's scalpel slips and he drives it into your heart or he cuts your throat. But I think that's very rare, not impossible. So I was nervous. And if you watch that first interview where I announced my cancer diagnosis, I documented the moment by telling people how I felt. I didn't mean to seem over dramatic or anything like that. But when you hear the word cancer, it's scary. The people on the phone have no bedside manner. They, you have cancer. Here's your surgery date. And so I went to the good people at Vivita Dermatology and Vivita Loca Dermatology. And anyway, they performed what's called Mohs surgery. Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, and Dr. Howard were not available. The guy called himself Dr. Mack, I think is what he said. Anyway, it was an interesting experience. You get there at 8:30 in the morning and a little bit of sitting around. They turn on a very bright light. They can see kind of where the cancer is, and they mark it. And then they go look at the pictures. After looking at the pictures, they mark it, and then they come back and begin to numb you with injections. And it takes a while to get the whole thing. No, not that long. I mean, but then they make the incision, and if it starts to hurt, they will add more injection. So the cutting wasn't very bad. It was a bigger cut than I expected. Maybe it's this way, horizontal, I suppose. It goes from here to here is what it did. But I didn't really feel it. In fact, I asked the nurse, did he do it already? And she said, yeah. And so then you sit and wait, and they take the piece it's a tumor. It is a tumor. They take the piece of the tumor, they cut it up into fours, and they put it under a microscope. They freeze it, put it under a microscope, and they look to see if there's non-cancer around it. Then they know they got it all. So fortunate for me, in the first try, he did get all the cancer. Thankfully, it was not they take a nice piece, but it wasn't. It could have been way worse. So they then comes the stitching, and the stitching was the rough part. It feels like they're just tying shoes in your face. They're just pulling on it. I feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yes, they numb while they're doing it. And they had to add again. It was 15 stitches. Some were on the inside, some were on the outside. I don't really know. I didn't really choose to watch much of this. And thank you so much to everybody, by the way. Brian, much appreciated. And Jay Ryan, everybody, thank you so much. Scarlett, Dan, all the good people. And of course, Dr. Paul is here. Dr. Paul's been watching the show since the beginning. I don't. Whatever happened to Chris? Remember, you guys remember Chris? For those of you who are longtime fans, Seagull's got it right. Twisted Sister, Under the Blade. I was listening to that the night before. So yeah, Chris was such a fun guy. We used to block him, and now he's gone. And so but this is a different Chris. This is Chris Topolinsky, and he says he's getting a biopsy in his cheek. Thanks to you, I let it go just because you talked about your skincare, and so I had to check that. I will tell you that this is why it's good to talk about this. I never want to be the person who says you should do this and you should do that. What the hell do I know of your life? But when I talked about it, a lot of people told me that they were going in for biopsies. I have a very good friend in Australia, which is where the worst sun is for skin cancer, the highest rates of skin cancer. And he went and he's having some things removed. And I think a lot of people were inspired. And that's why I'm glad that I chose to talk about this. And so, yeah, if you think you see something, go to the doctor. And if they tell you they won't recommend you, push until they will, because as my primary said, this was growing for over a year. I looked at pictures. I believe it might have been there for almost 2 years at the beginning. The sooner they get it, the less they have to cut. So so yeah, if you have something, get it looked at. And listen, here it comes. Wear sunscreen. Wear sunscreen. I neglected it. I've walked in Las Vegas. I walked a marathon, which is 26 miles. I didn't wear sunscreen. So wear a hat. Whatever you got to do, but don't let that sun get you, because a lot of people gave me their experiences with this. And after it's been a few years, you kind of go, yeah, it sucked, but you get through it. I don't recommend getting this, and I don't recommend. But yes, thank God it's treated, and as of now, I'm considered cancer-free, and I will be more careful. And I hope that you guys will as well. So I don't mean to preach too much about it, but I did want people to know. So. I am getting back to work, and I will be doing new interviews. I am trying to decide, do I do the interviews with the bandage on? Am I ready to take it off? I'm not sure yet. It's still, disfigured, or whatever you want to call it. It's not, I don't know. I haven't really been out without a mask or this covered. I've gone out, I snuck out with Johnny and Monaco a couple times. And the bandage was way worse. And actually learning how to change the bandage in the beginning was a big pain, but I got it down now. And yes, as Scarlett says, push for second and third opinions. But yeah, don't ever do it. So and yes, I guess I can say that I kicked cancer's ass. We'll talk about that, because somebody is very angry with me. Well, a few people are angry with me. It can't be as bad as it looks. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, sunscreen, and and while I find Dr. Paul's comments funny, some of them I maybe won't put out, just in case. That's why you got to watch the show live so you can read the comments. Some of them people might not understand, take offense to. So one woman today, she told me that she's not watching the show anymore because she feels like I think I'm too important. I don't know. I don't think that I'm that important. And that shows you, though, that the show is doing well, because we're closing in on 12,000 subscribers. We're still only at this for a year or so, or a little over. I don't even know. Maybe a little over a year and a half. Who knows? 2 years, maybe. Whatever. 12,000 subscribers and well over 1 million views. We'll be hitting 2 million views soon. So. And I don't say that to brag, but I think something's working, and I think that we enjoy this. I think Steve says my bandage looks bad. I don't know what does that mean? You don't like the way it's on. And why do I even buy these things? Anyway, so she was very upset, and she said that her friends are very upset too. I believe her name was Karen, and I think her last name was Cunt. I'm not sure. It escapes me right now, but I'll try to remember. But anyway, uh, these these people or whatever. So you have to have people hate you, and it fuels you to do better. So there is a musician, and you guys can guess in the chat if you know who it is. But there's a musician when I was diagnosed with cancer who went on their Facebook and they decided to say that I deserved this and that it was karma. Somebody bashed me, and I just I'm not surprised because some people are, as they call, insecure or chumps or whatever. And so, oh, they changed things on here. Hold on. So I'm going to show you the comment. Now, this person is a coward, okay? And that coward removed the Facebook comment before many people could see it. But somebody was nice enough to screenshot it and send it to me. And so I see a lot of guesses in the chat. Kenny Rogers is incorrect. But right, so I'm just going to share this right now. Remember this, I was when I was first diagnosed with cancer. All right, so I'll give you a chance to look at this and read it for yourselves. This is from the former drummer of Rat, also the former drummer of Fake Rat. He said, well, karma truly has a swift kick to it. Wouldn't you agree, Dracula Jason G? And then he said, what comes around? What comes around is from a song that he had nothing to do with the writing of. I currently tour with the guy who wrote that lyric, and he does it, interesting enough. All I can say about Bobby Blotzer and this comment that you're seeing is that, and that's enough of it, but one of us beat cancer and the other one beats women. So that's something to put in your pipe and smoke it, as they say. I kicked cancer's ass. He got kicked out of Rat. There's a lot of things that you can say about this. It can go on all day. But this guy's a chump, and he deserves the worst. If you see him out and about, let him know that he's a piece of shit. He deserves it. And he has a horrible history of things. Find out what he did on this cruise. I forgot the name of the cruise, but he ended up in the brig. It's nothing to be proud of. It's also documented by a police record. So for anyone who thinks they're a lawyer, think twice. Not that he hasn't lost every lawsuit he's ever had. So yes, now some people say don't stoop to his level. Listen, this is a show where we make entertainment, and here's no don't stoop to his level. But all I'm doing is calling him out. And yeah, here's a good one. One beat cancer, there's a cancer. I don't think that it's stooping to his level. I'm addressing what was said. Yes, it is real. People wondering if it's real. Of course, it's real. This is a classless guy, and we should address it. I've tried to avoid talking about him because I work with Stephen Pearcy and rap business. I try to stay out of it, and I was actually kind of going to turn the cheek, so to speak, about this guy and let it go. But at this point, I don't think. I don't think I can do that because he's still this. It's still so ridiculous. And anyway, but we should let people know. We should let people know. And yeah, I don't think you'll see him doing very much again, which is the way it should be. This is a short, fat, bitter man. History of domestic violence and hair plugs. Probably not the best person to be throwing a stone. But anyway, I don't. I don't. I could go on about it all day. It's funny. So someone said Dr. Paul had a good one. Did I miss it? Dr. Paul says, I heard he does not beat women. His record is 0-7 with 3 TKOs. Very true. Maybe he attempted to beat women, but he loses, and he does apparently drink beer. Anyway, he's a loser. It's worth addressing. What am I supposed to do? Some people said, "Oh, you should take the high road." Like, this is a show where we talk about trash and silly things, and there's no bigger trash or silly thing than him. So anyway, with that said, the voice of Rat, Stephen Pearcy, you can see me tour managing him, and you can see the great Scott Coogan on drums. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I thought we should address it. Anyway, let's talk a little about Mick Mars retiring. I am a fan of Mick Mars. I liked the first 2 Motley Crue records. The next couple records, Theater of Pain, Girls Go, I thought there was a few good tunes on it. I thought Motley Crue was always the kind of band that you can make one great record out of all their records. I always felt there was like a little bit of filler, but I always enjoyed his riffs, and Mick Mars is a big part of that sound. He's a big part of that Motley Crue sound, obviously. And while Nikki Sixx wrote the songs, obviously Mick worked on his own parts. And I liked that Mick Mars wasn't the shredder of all those 80 bands. Warren DeMartini, George Lynch, these guys were shredders. Mick really just played, and he played some cool parts. Thank you to Jay Karp for the I don't know what you call these things anymore. Super chat. That's a super chat, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you enjoy the show. So Mick Mars today has announced that he has retired from touring. Now, if you remember a few weeks ago on the show, I said that Mick Mars was going to retire from touring. I do believe that he may play residencies and things here in Vegas again. I think that Mick Mars, I think traveling overseas is ridiculous. It's very hard. It's hard for somebody who's healthy, for somebody who's been fighting his sickness for 40 years, the problems he has. I can't pronounce the word, but it's just too much. It's too much for the amount of touring, and the other guys want to do it. Mick is still considered a part of the band, so I guess he'll still get a percentage, I'm sure, of something, and I think you will see him play some shows in the States again if he's able to. But I think that not to have a goodbye for Mick, because the last show was here in Las Vegas at the Allegiant Stadium, but not to have him play for the fans one more time and let people know this is their chance to see him would be a shame. It would also be a missed opportunity for the Motley guys who, like money as anybody. It's business. And so I think for these foreign dates, you will see the John 5. They'll announce him. It was not a secret. I reported it here. Stevie Rochelle, I spoke to him, and when I told him about this news, he had told me he hadn't heard it from anyone yet. After he talked to me, I think he made a few calls, and he said that 2 other people said it as well. I have a friend who was a source, gave me the information. I believed it. I stated it as fact, and now you have to wait for the John 5 announcement, obviously, but you have the first pieces in play. And so I'm just trying to get to some of your comments as well. A good question here is Mick Mars' solo album is a lot like Johnny Monaco's solo record. Good point. I don't know where either is. I think that Johnny is working on his solo record. At least he got a new desk, so that's a good start. As far as Mick Mars goes, who knows? I don't know if we'll ever hear it. Hold on here. Jay, my dad had the same surgery. Love your show. I'm happy to offer the super chat. Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who watches. Obviously, anyone who helps support the channel, I appreciate it because it has become a full-time business. And when the cancer diagnosis came in, I knew that I was going to have to slow my schedule down. And I'm still in the recovery process. I spent 2 weeks. But anyway, let's see here. Does Johnny have a title for his solo record? I believe it is called Found Her Soulmate. And that is his record. I don't know when it'll be available. We'll have to have him back and ask him. Yes, no, Mick cannot be replaced. Just trying to get some of your statements in. Anyway, so it wasn't news that I wanted to say, but we knew it was going to happen, and so it's going to happen. I will tell you that there will be new. I say hello to Dawn, and Jay would like to see Dan Huff on. That's a good guess. That's a possibility. I think one time we were close to doing that, and then I think something happened and I couldn't do it, which occasionally happens in this wacky world. But there are some cool interviews coming up. I'm finally able to get back to work. Michael Sweet from Striper. Striper has a new album out. I'm looking forward to talking to him. We're going to have a good conversation. I promise you that my conversation with him will be more interesting than the same fare that everybody else asks him. And I've spoken with him quite a bit while traveling, and he's looking forward to it. So we're going to get that scheduled. Chris, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. Okay, yeah, Harry K. Cody, Shotgun Messiah. I'd like to have him on. I'll have to work on that. Anyway, Michael Sweet's coming up. Dean Roberts, he is the drummer for the band Leatherwolf. If you guys know Leatherwolf, or if you don't, I feel like they were one of those underrated metal bands. I want to do a show here about kind of underrated metal bands that are underlooked, bands that didn't get the attention that they probably should have. So he'll be here to talk about Leatherwolf and their new record. I'm going to listen to it tonight. I have not listened to it yet. Also, Billy Childs from Brittany Fox will be here. If you have paid attention, we had Johnny D on the show. There's been a mystery about reuniting Brittany Fox, and it looks like we'll have to ask Billy Childs. That'll be coming up soon. Comedian Craig Gass will be here as well. That'll be later, it'll be early next year as he promotes a kickoff tour for him, and a comedy tour, that is. And then who else is coming up? A lot of people. We're starting to kind of get back to business. Stephen Sweet of Warrant and I have spoke, and he had to have a surgery, and then I had my surgery, but I think we're going to get that done, and he has not done many interviews before, so I'm honored that we'll have a chance to talk with him. Dr. Paul, maybe, yeah, we possibly could interview him. We have had the other Paul on. Let's see. Darren, I don't know where he's living now. From Harem Scareman, Red Dragon Cartel. Yeah, he sang with Jake. We got to get Jake on, right? I mean, him and Stephen Piercy were chatting again, as you've seen in the news, CNN. Well, big news. Okay. Silverback orangutan. Thank you so much for the Get Lady Evil on the show. Her collection alone. I'm not sure I know what Lady Evil is. Somebody has to help me. Explain it to me. Maybe I'm missing something. And thank you for the super chat. Billy Child's interview is we got a little while. We're going to schedule. We're going to tape some stuff and available. Kane Roberts has flaked on me like 10 times. He always says next week, then this week, then that week. Now he's got that gig, and he'll probably just won't write back to me. So no big deal. Let's see. Ronnie Latecra is a good choice. Fred says it would be good to have the drummer for Rival Souls on as a guest. Okay, we can look for that. Ricardo is watching from Mexico. Nice. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, Eric Singer does live in Vegas. I don't know. We have to see about that one, right? And the guy from Autograph. What the fuck is his name? I'm such a scumbag. uh, anyway, I just talked to the guys from Autograph, and make sure I say his name right. He's not watching. Jimmy Bell, is that his name? Yeah, Jimmy Bell. Anyway, he's going to be on here. And I find one of the things that's interesting about Jimmy is that he also performed a lot of the wrestling theme songs. Vince McMahon hired him to play wrestling ring entrances, so he will be here uh, uh, soon. When I get when we get off this show, which I'm going to have to get out of here soon, then we will. I got to call all these people and get it going. Reunite the band Candy. That's a tough one. I don't know if anyone would care. Heck, what about the ex Skid Row drummer? That's another guy. Oh my God, does that guy drag it on? Rob Bafuso. One day, next day, this day, schedule that day. I don't know if he's just pulling my leg, but and then as far as Lady Evil is a smoking hot Brazilian blonde bombshell with a gigantic vinyl music collection. Well, I'll have to take a look at it. I wasn't familiar. And her hubby Carlos is a killer drummer. And JB says she ain't that great. I don't know. Are you talking about the same Lady Evil? I hate to have a difference. Anyway, so we have all that, and Stephen Piercy will be here soon. Stephen Piercy and I are going to go like a go-kart racing or whatever they call that, Grand Prix racing. We're going to do that, and that'll be here. We were supposed to do it before my surgery, but I did not have the time to do it. At the time of my surgery, I was also facing a little respiratory thing, and I wasn't feeling very well. I was sick on the last leg of the Piercy tour, the Agent Provocateur tour, if you will. And I probably, if I would have told him how I was feeling, he probably wouldn't have performed the surgery. So I was resting. Also, many of you know I'm a type 1 diabetic. And so my diabetes has been a bit out of control. And I'm using this time to work on that too. So I've started with a new endocrinologist, whatever you call that, program. And that's why in my arm right now is the uh, Dexcom. This is a Dexcom. And I think this is the G6. I'm not sure. But this thing, um, I am not seeing the readings from this. But what happens is I wear it for 10 days. They download the data, and then they will see what a screw up I am with diabetes and will change my insulin program. And then they will get me one of these that I can wear on a regular basis. I won't have to prick my fingers anymore, which will be a miracle because it's really awful to do it consistently, and sometimes 5, 6 times a day. It takes my blood sugar reading every 5 minutes, and it will send it to my cell phone. And um, and so that's and then they have another one that actually can give me insulin as well. So I am looking to, but I have to do this first. So anyway, and it takes a little getting used to. It's not so bad though. I'll be honest. Uh, Jimmy DeGrasso, that played with Rat and White Line. What is he doing now? Do you know? I don't know. Him and I used to chat on social media. I got to know him a little bit when he was playing with Rat, and and then I think, deleted his account. So I don't really know. Hmm. Would you be interested in interviewing Vic Fox? I would. I would. I think he would be a great guest, and I like to hear all those stories. I was trying to reunite Enough's Enough, but so if somebody knows Vic Fox, call me. I think Steve Summers knows him. Steve Sex Summers from Pretty Boy Floyd, but I'm not sure he's going to give me the digits. All right, let's see here. Trying to read everybody's comments. Sometimes, yeah, Izzy would be a good one. That's an easy one. I'll just dial them up. But no, yeah. So I think everybody would love to have that interview. Um, so yeah, I've been bored out of my mind for 2 weeks sitting at home. My Yankees were an utter nightmare. It just could not be more painful. The team was just awful. And even though everyone's sucking up to Houston, the Yankees definitely had a chance that they a lot of bad man. I mean, the team wasn't very good, but management was terrible, and so I suffered through that. And John Christ comes up a lot. Yeah. Let's see. Jimmy DeGrasso was also with Megadeth. He is not now. I don't know who's in Megadeth now, but hopefully they don't sext at night and make videos. All right, guys, almost time to wrap up. Internet rumor is that Richie is coming back to Bon Jovi for the 40th anniversary. Well, I sure hope so. We can say we heard it here first then. I think they need him. I don't think John can sing very well. I think he needs Richie to help. And I think the band is uninteresting. And I think that would be a good way to go out. So let's see. The New York fans giving it to Ted Cruz was the only thing that was good about that the whole series. Ted Cruz is a complete piece of shit. Whatever politics your side you're on, that's fine. But Ted Cruz is just garbage. I mean, if leaving during a storm, leave your own state. I mean, he's just garbage. And I'm glad that the Yankee fans flipped him off, cursed him out, reminded him that Donald Trump said his wife was ugly. All those things. It was just really, really great. And I give the New York fans all the credit for that. Yeah, spineless Ted, just a horrible person. You know, I never talk about politics on this show, but if the Republican Party thinks that a Ted Cruz type has any chance, they're looking in the wrong direction. You know, even if any party thought of that, that kind of guy is just not going to fly. You don't have to like Donald Trump, but he represented something different, good or bad. Ted Cruz, oh my God. So I'm flipping him off too. Let's see what we got here. And some people, listen, some people have different feelings. People are excited. You know, it is election time. Is it going to mean anything? You know, I mean, I'm going to vote, but do you think it's going to mean anything? Do you think things are going to change? Who knows? Anyway, let's not get into that. Let's talk about other things. I'm not sure. It says here because New York is so great now. Well, I don't know what that means. However New York is, the point is that Ted Cruz is horrible. Do you think Ted Cruz could do a good job in New York? Anyway, no word on Vito Bratta. No, I talked to Eddie Trunk, and Eddie Trunk does talk to Vito Bratta, and Eddie Trunk relays messages to Vito Bratta. I didn't ask Eddie Trunk to get me an interview with Vito Bratta. Obviously, if he's going to do it, he'd want him on his show. But he did do an interview for Guitar World, and that's the first time he spoke in a long time because he was very honored to be included on the cover of of Guitar World magazine. So a lot of people thought Mick Mars was coming out of the record, but Dr. Paul's not wrong. You know, someone watching the show likes Ted Cruz. You know what I mean? I should be more careful with what I say. There's somebody watching right now who's angry. You would be shocked how many people, I ain't watching your show no more. You know, Mr. Haney from Green Acres. But Mark also reminds us that Eddie Trunk side is really, in case anyone forgot. Yeah. Somehow I don't think he would let you. You know, I wanted to talk about some of these bands that are out there right now, and then I'm going to get out of here. But it's so hard now for me to talk about bands because I'm on the road with Stephen Piercy. We run into these bands, and it's hard. But there was a show here last week with Slaughter. And look, no matter what you think, I like the guys in Slaughter, and I like their records. And Lost Lies is a friend of mine. He's not in the band anymore. But so Slaughter was playing downtown at Fremont. I like those guys, but I'm not going down to Fremont. It's the worst place in Nevada. It's just hell, and yeah, it's not the place to be. So, but they had a band called The Sweet opening for them, and it makes me sick. And I don't blame the guys for wanting to make a living, but there's no members of The Sweet in The Sweet. The deal was that Steve Priest, the bass player for The Sweet, could use the name in America, and Andy Scott, the guitar player, could use it in in the UK. Well, Steve Priest passed away. This band called The Sweet needs to be called a tribute to The Sweet because that is what it is. I'm a huge fan of The Sweet. And to be honest with you, since the singer died, which is ages ago, 30 something years ago, uh, there has been no real Sweet. And so I just can't, it bothers me, you know. Again, these guys got to make a living, but to call a band and have no members, that's where we're heading. And this is probably foreigners' fault. You know, let's blame those guys. They go out there. Lou Graham is alive and well. Eddie Trunk told me. He told everybody. And yeah, it's just if you're going to be a tribute band, call yourselves a tribute band. But to call something The Sweet, when I first moved to Vegas, there was a show called The Platters, The Coasters, and The Drifters. There wasn't one original member of any of those three bands. And I realized one day the hard rock music is going to end up like that too. Then after The Sweet was Vixen. Now, I told Lorraine Lewis I'd have her on, and we went back and forth, and maybe we still will. I find it hard to believe that Vixen is a band when the drummer is the only original member. Cher's alive. She just left the band. Janet Gardner's alive. She left the band as well. So what do you do? Robert Higgins brings up Quiet Riot. There's a little bit of difference with Quiet Riot, though, because Quiet Riot is the mental health era. That's the real Quiet Riot. I mean, no disrespect to anybody else, but that's the band starts there. And they at least have Rudy. I know it's just the bass player. I get it. I think they should have Carlos in the band. No disrespect. I'm friends with all the guys in Quiet Riot, but they can't work it out. Also, Kevin DuBrow, you know, yeah, he's passed, you know, but I don't know. I think, yeah, no Janet, no Vixen. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way. I think these people are taking advantage now because they just say the average fan. You guys watching, I have a very savvy audience. You guys are smart, but the average person doesn't know what they're going to see. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the road and people don't know who's in a band, and they only know one or two songs. Have I seen a YouTube show called Before I Forget? No. Why don't you tell me what it is? Give me a little more information. I watch YouTube constantly. Speaking of watching YouTube, go into the description, click on Patreon, sign up, and watch my next tour diary. In the next tour diary, it's the Stephen Pearcy at the Rainbow 50th Anniversary Bash. I got to town early. I'm going to show you where they filmed National Lampoon's Vacation. I'm going to show you where they filmed scenes from The Karate Kid. I'm going to take you to all the famous spots in the Doors history. The Alta Cienega Hotel where Jim Morrison stayed, the workshop where they recorded the records and did the business, Barney's Beanery where he allegedly peed on the bar. All those things are in the video. I go to Universal Studios Hollywood. I show you around there. Then, of course, the Rainbow Bash. You're going to see Stevie Sex Summers is there. And, of course, the voice of Rat, Stephen Pearcy. So anyway, I want you to sign up and watch it before everybody else. Also, you can click on the Whatnot link, get $15 free for signing up. Go get an account. The account's free. It doesn't cost anything. The $15 is free, too. Go see how it's done. You'll see that they have these live auctions, and you buy all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of people who think Tommy Thayer is the spaceman. And, I mean, I guess he is a spaceman. Is Brittany Fox a tribute band? Well, we're going to ask him. We're going to ask Billy Childs what he thinks. I did kind of ask him. And his answer is something along the lines of, those guys don't want to do it, and I have the right to work. I've heard that before. Some people who say that aren't being accurate. He might be, but we have to stay tuned for the interview. Show you where Clark Griswold purchased the BB gun. I can show you that, and I've been there, but it's not close, and it's not in the next video. You're going to see where he went skinny dipping with Christy Brinkley, though. So anyway, all of those things in the next tour diary, and there's a whole season of these things. I think there's 15 in the first season. So you're going to see M3, and you're going to see Monsters on the Mountain, and there's going to be cameos from all kinds of interesting people. I've got the lights set up in here different. I just took all these things. I had a storage unit that I wanted to get rid of, and so I moved everything into my living room. So there's just stuff everywhere. I can't even find my cat. And but I have the lights set up differently, and this light is like 10 million degrees right here. And if you have diabetes, hot lights tend to lower your blood sugar. So someone says brand over band for the artist, not for a fan. Yes, that is very true. Anyway, unless you guys have something incredibly interesting to say, I got to find my cat and feed my cat, and I got to lay around and do nothing. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm getting ready for a big Halloween weekend. I think I'm going to leave the house, and Michelle and I are going to go to a pumpkin patch, and we're going to pick our own pumpkin and do all kinds of other Halloween things. I will also be seeing The Creature from the Black Lagoon in the theaters. It's playing on Halloween in the theaters, not on Halloween, this Saturday, 29th, I think, and a double feature with the Phantom of the Opera. I wanted to see Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein today, but I just I wasn't up for it. Just saw Last in Line. That guy can sing crazy. Yes, Andrew Freeman. He was on this show, and you can check out that interview. Thank you very much. And I think everybody is. I like when I get these stupid questions like, someone's asking if Johnny and I are on the outs. I mean, I talk to the guy every day. I see him constantly. So no, I don't think we're on the outs. But if you see him on someone else's podcast and he says bad things about me, let me know. But I don't think that's happening. At least not today. Yes, everybody have a great Halloween. And yes, while I'm laying around doing nothing, how about releasing more tour diaries? Well, you must have joined us late because Monday you'll get another episode. I do everything myself. It's exhausting. Okay. Thank you, Kim. It hasn't completely hit me yet. Cancer-free. It's such a crazy thing. It's nerve-wracking. You feel like it's going to come back. You feel like you're going to get it again. So let's hope I don't. Thank you, Countess. It's good to see you. And we'll be back to a normal. Hey, look, here he is right now. You see, you guys are so worried about Johnny Monaco. He's here in the chat. I don't know what he's saying though. He just wrote "let." I don't know what that means, but maybe he's saying "yet." Anyway, he's got a new desk, and he'll be on soon to promote his new desk. And it's an interesting story. He's come a long way on that. Hold on. Johnny says, sorry, he's got a monkey and he's in his hair. See, he's very busy. His new record, She Said She Found Her Soulmate, will probably be available very soon. And Johnny will be back here very soon as well. Happy Halloween to everybody. Thank you all for watching. How long we've been doing this now? 55 minutes. I'm exhausted. And Johnny and I will be going to the Cosmo maybe in a little while. I think we might be due. We'll discuss it, Johnny, privately. Happy Halloween. Yeah, I'm going to watch some Universal movies for sure. And hey, Nick's here. Nick, great to hear you're cancer-free. Thank you. Miss you too, Nick. Nick is a finalist in this contest called The Face of Horror, the New Face of Horror, the Something Face of Horror. I take my bandage off. I could be in the Face of Horror. Anyway, I hope you're doing well in that, and I hope people are voting for you. All right. Thank you for everyone for watching. New tour diary next week, new live shows, new guests, and all kinds of fun that you've come to enjoy from this very exciting broadcast.